member of the Indian section of the Theosophical Society. She is a member of the General Council and Executive Committee of the Indian section. She has previously served in various capacities at the international headquarters at the DR, as well as in federation and national work of the Indian section. She joined the Theosophical Society in 1977. She finished her Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics at the University of Madras and proceeded to obtain her Master's in Business Administration at the Central University in Pondicherry. Today, she will speak to us on how awareness transforms life. Brothers and sisters, let us welcome our sister, Sripriya H. Raghavan. Priya.
Good afternoon. Today, I stand before you to spend about 15 minutes of time on an interesting and useful topic, namely how awareness transforms life. It is important to think out logically the basic question and facts relating to life's problems before we attempt to answer. The question arises, what is awareness and how do we define it? Does it have classifications? Well, broadly, it can be classified as self-awareness and others' awareness. In case of self-awareness, it usually involves an individual or a person himself to have a powerful stimulus, which could be emotional or intellectual or spiritual in nature. It may involve sublimating the energies of the mental and the emotional to a new field which has not been present until now. In order to do this, one would have to step back from the activities of the present and make an assessment of whether what one is engaged in is worth continuing in future as well, or whether one needs to do something different to make one's life what one wants it to be. To understand this issue of awareness, let us look at one or two examples. Firstly, let us take the example of the son of King Sudodana and Queen Maya Devi of the kingdom of Kapilavastu, who was called Siddhartha. He lived more than 2500 years ago. The prince lived with all opulence and grandeur. He was a brave and fearless warrior, accomplished archer, yet kind and compassionate. However, he was oblivious of the challenges in the life of a common man. While growing up in princely ways, he happened to come across a section of the people living with hardships completely unknown to him. The initial impact, which can be called awareness, gravitated him to know the reality of such things as old age, illness, and death. He also came to know about saints or sadhus who were seekers after truth and not attached to the material world. When Siddhartha was first exposed to sorrows of life in his kingdom, he was impacted emotionally to such an extent that he began to question himself as to the root cause of suffering. The impact was so much that his entire being was troubled and he kept brooding over the situation. Siddhartha became aware that he had to find a solution, he had to find a way out, and this occupied his entire consciousness. He chose to pursue a path in search of an answer to the big question before him. He was in his inner quest for the answer and was eventually enlightened. This enlightenment changed not only his life but large section of mankind, which is in common knowledge. This is a case of self-awareness, which eventually became part of sizable populace across continents and reached a state of universal acceptance. I would like to present another example, that of others' awareness, leading to the birth of eminent institution lasting over many decades. Such an example is close to our heart, where the founders in the year 1875 established the Theosophical Society. HPB and H.S. Alcott, who were handpicked by the inner founders, were aware of the need to create an institution which could act as a platform for the coming generations. The thought process happened 145 years ago. A lot of credit ought to go to the people who followed the founders and remained committed to the functioning of the institution in its true sense of serving humanity. I endeavor that this strength, the backbone of the Theosophical Society, being the values it nurtures, will serve the people in long time to come hereafter. Let us take another example, Valmiki. In ancient India, presumably 4 to 5,000 years ago, Valmiki lived by looting and stealing from people. When the divine sage Narada met up with him and asked him to give up his wild ways, Valmiki tried to justify that he was doing such things for the sake of a livelihood and for his family, and that they would support him in all the sins he was incurring. However, when in actual reality, Valmiki learnt from his wife that she and the family would not actually share the sins of looting and the wrongdoings, he became aware of the reality of life. With the help of the wise sage who advised him to take the name of the divine and go inward into meditation, Valmiki, the robber, was transformed. He became the first poet of India, the Adi Kavi, and composed the Ramayana. In the examples I have given about Gautama Buddha and founders of TS and Valmiki, it is clear that the nature of activities in their lives changed post awareness. It was a fundamental change that happened within permanently. This process of change is in general terms called transformation and does not happen overnight. It takes time to assimilate and persist with process of change. When old ways of life are given up and new ways of life adopted for evolution and progress, then there is complete transformation. When we speak of transformation, it is not the process by which larva becomes caterpillar and finally a butterfly in its natural process of evolution. By transformation, we refer to the change in consciousness of man which makes him selfless, vast, and unshackled. From a merely thinking mind, we need to go beyond. Mind is the helper. Mind is the bar. Mind is the great slayer of the real, exhorts HPB. When we are stepping back and looking at ourselves, we should not fall into delusion or illusion. An overtly critical mind indulges in self-bashing. On the other side of the spectrum, it should not be in a state of self-glorification behind the calm exterior. Very often, awareness seems to be clouded by our petty troubles, sorrows, which have a bearing on selfishness and self-centeredness. We suffer from the imagined fear of the unknown, the future, and have a tendency to relapse into the past with remorse. Remorse and anxiety stops us from progressing. We need to move away from the conditioned response to a considered response. The mirror of the mind gathers dust if not cleaned with awareness and wisdom. Therefore, it is imperative to look at life earnestly and in a true spirit of inquiry, with a free mind and with courage. In the light of the teachings of the ageless wisdom, we try to rise to a sympathetic and objective standpoint. When we are conscious that to do the right thing at any cost for the sake of right, then we are truly acting from the heart of the being, which is always celestial strength and the core of transformation. We need to look at how life changes after transformation by taking new set of actions. We understand that in life, it is not what you do so much as how you do it. Your goals are probably sound, but it is the manner of how you proceed towards the goals that matters most. What we have discussed so far is basically most human beings go through in the form of experiences, some of which can be classified as awakening to so-called awareness. Similarly, all situations that lead to awareness do not lead to everlasting transformations. At the same time, a few events become part of our remaining life forever due to the nature of profound impact. We are trying to emphasize that becoming aware is one part, but making it useful for remaining part of life as a permanent activity could transform the outcomes of the life as such. What made Buddha from Prince Siddhartha? What was the starting point for the change of approach of life? Where did he finally reach? After this change, well, he first became aware to find an answer to end sorrow, which led him becoming a new person who was known to the world as Buddha, whose teachings were useful to mankind in many ways. In case of our founders, their starting point was to become aware for the need to conceptualize the concept of theosophy and start the institution in which they succeeded. Thus, we realize the starting point for most major accomplishments in history have begun from awareness. The examples given above are commonly known. In real life, there have been and there shall be many exemplary saints, scientists, and thinkers who have gone through similar experiences, beginning with awareness to persistent actions and highly recognized accomplishments for the betterment of the world at large. In conclusion, when a ship is on sail to its destination, the captain uses a compass to understand that ship is on course. Similarly, we need awareness to steer the course of our life. I shall leave you with a few thoughts of Brother N. Sriram. The inherent nature of life is a nature of freshness, energy, sensitiveness, and beauty. It has to be released, not acquired. If this is so, it puts a different complexion or face on the whole problem of the transformation that is possible in ourselves. So, let us be aware, let us transform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Priya, for your insights on individual and social awareness. Now, our second speaker is the present president of the Marathi Theosophical Federation, as well as the Pune Lodge in Pune. He's also the president of the Theosophical Order of Service in the Maharashtra region for the past 7 years. Our speaker is a third-generation theosophist, such that he has been attending theosophical meetings since he was 5 years old. He has a bachelor's degree in technology and took up his master's degree in engineering in Thailand. He also holds another master's degree from France in chemical engineering, as well as a Bachelor of Laws degree from India. He has traveled extensively to more than 20 countries and gave presentations in international conferences. He speaks French in addition to English, Hindi, and Marathi. Brothers and sisters, let us welcome our next speaker, who will speak on the importance of awareness in fulfilling the Theosophical Society's mission. Brother Sanjay Potey.
Dear brothers and sisters, good afternoon. I am thankful to Indian section of the Theosophical Society for giving me an opportunity to speak before you on this interesting topic. It concerns Theosophical Society's mission and importance of awareness. As we know, Society's mission statement says to serve humanity by cultivating an ever-deepening understanding and realization of the ageless wisdom, spiritual self-transformation, and the unity of all life. The mission statement contains only 24 words as such, but each and every word is very, very meaningful and valuable. If we see carefully, mission statement inculcates the aspects of awareness by specifying 5 words, that is, ever-deepening understanding and realization. Due to the time constraints, the mission statement cannot be elaborated right now. However, it is now our responsibility to fulfill the mission, isn't it? We, the members of Theosophical Society, should understand thoroughly importance to undertake theosophical work, the work to serve the higher purpose of life, the work to serve objectives of the Theosophical Society. There are 3 elements of awareness: person or persons, surrounding or environment, and target or goal or subject matter. In this presentation context, the third element is already defined, that is, to fulfill Theosophical Society's mission. The person or persons need to be aware of theosophical teachings, and the surrounding is to be cultivated to promote these perennial teachings. Even if a person has awareness that his or her life is a serious matter and the life cannot be willed away casually, then the person shall definitely think and act to live a meaningful life. He or she shall realize of being a part of the race, society, nation, and the globe, and thus the person shall feel responsible to advance not only his or her life, but that of the whole humanity. In order to serve higher purpose of life, the awareness of getting self-preparation is extremely necessary. We can say that the underlying purpose of all aspects of theosophical work is self-preparation. Without working on ourselves, we cannot evidently serve the objectives of Theosophical Society. It should not be like one can speak on brotherhood and yet be completely unconscious of the relationship with others. Awareness is also proved to be a tool for self-transformation. Remember, what we are not aware, we cannot master. The experts say that the awareness should be natural and not mechanical because of the quality and glory of being aware. The importance and power of awareness is given in detail in theosophical literature and other literatures, and awareness techniques are being used in meditations such as Zen meditation, Vipassana, choiceless awareness, etc. H.P. Blavatsky mentions that gaining spiritual self-knowledge is not possible by strenuous thinking or brain processes. Non-conceptual meditation is needed to go beyond lower mind. The source of wisdom is connected with buddhi, which is beyond the conditioned consciousness of the lower mind, and hence there is a need of unconditioned observations. Awareness comes through mind and intellect. Coming over to the importance of awareness, we can say what awareness brings is freedom from fixed beliefs and habits. Basically, you are the awareness from which everything is made. Thus, awareness brings to shift the insight. You find yourself wanting to intensify some valuable qualities, such qualities which are essential to being human. The qualities include love, compassion, curiosity, creativity, and self-evolution, personal evolution. Everything we value comes from inside. Everything we do comes from inside. How to intensify these qualities? Simply but definitely by paying attention to them. You let awareness guiding you to the goal. Let me explain this in short. One of the renowned scientists made explicit reference when he said that a sense of wonder was essential to any great scientific discovery. Tell me, is wonder a thought? Wonder is not a thought. Wonder is a quality of awareness, opposite of taking things for granted. Awareness is a stimulus. Once we are aware of something, we try to get knowledge and true information about that thing. This helps us to think and act accordingly. One important result of awareness, however, is developing empathy, which means you listen, put yourself in others' shoes, try to understand their perspectives and share their feelings. This promotes brotherhood. Other important result of awareness is that awareness allows us to become proactive rather than reactive. Awareness has been a subject matter of research studies also. I would like to mention the latest research on awareness, specifically on subjective awareness. It is published in the Journal of General Psychology in the month of April 2019, just last year, under the heading Varieties of Conscious Experiences and subjective awareness of one's true self. In this research, it is theorized to reflect and experience, connect or disconnect between one's awareness and actual experience. So far as the present topic is concerned, awareness is important and powerful tool in spreading and popularizing theosophical teachings in the people at large. The awareness of external situation can pave the ways for finding methods, new initiatives, and other requisites for bringing theosophy to the people. As of now, there are around 28,000 members of Theosophical Society in odd 60 countries. Number of the members remains small as compared to other sects. To be a theosophist, you require certain amount of questioning, patience of listening, as well as self-directed efforts, which many people find difficult and thus not popular than believing it. It is observed that the group of people who tend to be attracted to the theosophy include either those who want direct relationship with God or divinity, or those who believe that there is a deeper shared truth between science and spirituality, or those curious to understand the teachings and doctrines of theosophy, or those who have high degree of awareness for searching themselves the truths without dependent on guru or scriptures or sect or tradition. It is necessary to reach to people who are more amenable to theosophical teachings. The pioneers of Theosophical Society mentioned that even such small numbers of the members can influence world's positive spiritual noosphere, which can bring changes in consciousness. Following are some of the steps which can be taken to spread theosophical teachings in the societies. 1. Identify the persons in society who seem to be amenable to theosophical teachings and make the preparation for such identification. 2. Use Science and Theosophy Forum to emphasize that theosophical truths are in spiritual dimensions and have precise laws quite similar to scientific world. Emphasize on awareness techniques, emphasize on simple living, vegetarian food, diet, and no drugs and no alcohol. Next, selfless services are to be rendered, and the work of Theosophical Order of Service needs to be encouraged. Use modern communication techniques and methods for making the people aware of theosophical truths. And as we know, hold regular meetings, seminars, discussions, lectures, and related social gatherings and programs. I would like to mention one of the useful activity undertaken by the Indian section, which is termed as SMART goals. The federations are given the task to be conducted by the lodges, aiming at enlarging the know-how of theosophical teachings to be conveyed to the members as well as to the common public. This activity is found to be useful for students and the youngsters. At the end, I would remind that we, the members of Theosophical Society, need to work rigorously on self-preparation in order to fulfill the mission of the society. We need to introspect, and we have an honest look into ourselves. The right conditions for self-preparation can be created when we come together with others with a sense of community and with unity. Let us be conscious of ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Sanjay, for sharing with us your thoughts on the importance of awareness and fulfilling our theosophical mission. We appreciate particularly the many examples that you have given in approaching this mission. Now, we shall now go to our third speaker, who is a woman with extensive administrative experience. In 1973, she joined the Armed Forces Headquarters Services and later served in the Ministry of Defense in various posts. After 36 years of serving the Army, Navy, Air Force, and various inter-service organizations, she retired as an additional director of the General Defense Headquarters in New Delhi in 2011. She was the first woman who occupied the highest position in the Armed Forces Headquarters. She also pursued postgraduate studies in Sanskrit from the Banaras Hindu University. She attended the National Defense College in New Delhi and was awarded a master's degree in philosophy degree by the University of Madras with a thesis of the essence of education and its role in building quality society. This inspired her to become interested in education, such that after joining the Theosophical Society, she was asked to become the manager of the Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya College, a postgraduate college established by Annie Besant at the headquarters of the Indian section. She is also the manager of Vasant Balika Vihar, the girls' hostel in the campus. Our speaker is an ardent follower of Vedanta and pursues the spiritual life through meditation. Brothers and sisters, let us welcome our speaker, who will talk to us on the question of, does one go through cycles of transformation in life? Let us welcome Sister Uma Bhattacharya.
Dear members, I am now going to present my views on whether one goes through the cycles of transformation in life, a topic assigned to me. The plan of nature is slow yet steady unfolding of consciousness, awareness. As the awareness increases, avenues open up, offering greater happiness, fulfillment, and joy. A stone is alive with atoms, but it has no feeling. It makes no difference to the stone whether you kick it, pulverize it, or worship it. A plant is aware of the soil, moistures, and condition. It sends its roots to the sources of water and nutrients. Its shoots reach out to sunshine and it blossoms in spring. It is believed to respond to music too, but it does not feel the love or tenderness of a parent. Now the animals are aware of seasons. Migratory birds fly thousands of miles to beat winter. Animals sense danger and elude predators. They are capable of deep caring, of love and forming relationships. The human being is mindful. We are aware of the seen and obvious. We can connect cause with effect and decipher laws of nature. We also have the power to align with the unseen, the subtle hand of divinity, We can choose to remain at lower levels of consciousness, awareness, eating, drinking, sleeping, commitment, just to commit to the elements, submit to the elements. On the other hand, we can soar to the higher levels of consciousness, to a world that offers certain victory over the material world, where we find perfect balance in every set of circumstances. Vedanta requires commitment to one's inner transformation. This is the requirement of Vedanta, and it wants this kind of commitment from the human beings. As we go up, we transcend earlier limitations and we become independent. Unfortunately, the sense gratification is what the world craves for, but it is the lowest and is limited by here and now. We become happy only when we are catered to. But many a times we are surrounded by the darkness. We may be going through constraint in our relationships, maybe having financial difficulties, or maybe that we are suffering from an illness that appears to be insurmountable. But we do not have to be blinded with this darkness surrounding us. Worldwide tendency to elude sorrow and restlessness has led to the ignorance of naturalness of life. It is painfully astonishing that the prime concern of humanity today is to address the question how life should be, whereas the basic question remains, what is the purpose of our life? To rescue the individual from this delusion, the seeker is required to ponder over three core questions. Who am I? Why I am here? And what is the purpose of my life? It is in the pursuit of the answers of these questions, the seeker turns to the teachings of saints and mystics, and the spiritual quest starts from there, moving beyond the mundane existence of material life. So, what is the way ahead? How can a seeker go about reconnecting to his true self? Seeker needs to now rediscover the original path to the truth. As he gradually advances in this path, there begins a silent transformation within. Whatever be the level of our development, deep down, all of us have a sense about true purpose of life. We must know that our existence is not to be limited to the petty desires and decadent strivings. Nevertheless, we are now confronted with times where a multitude of external pressures and internal commitments rear us in unthought of and hitherto unknown zones. We tend to ignore the deeper standards, cherished ethics, and innermost objectives and values. What follows is a slumber of hollow, meaningless existence where we squander precious days, weeks, months, and years. Life somehow goes on, but slowly and steadily, an uneasy feeling creeps in. We wonder, What would challenge life once our material needs are met? Sometimes we are under tremendous pressure to protect what we already have. We live under shadow of fear. An accomplishment which makes life meaningful under any condition, or which signifies the existence of life itself, is important and must be carefully understood. If a limited measure or view is taken as a standard, like for example body, its significance shall cease after a period. So we must therefore understand the significance beyond the limit. If we do not expand our vision beyond this life and do not appreciate and attain the core purpose of life during this lifetime itself, then the whole journey would be jeopardized. Life is a journey of Atman, to transcend the body consciousness, not for peaceful happiness, but for infinite bliss, Anand. It is the journey to dismantle an imaginary theorem and become free, a freedom attained much prior to death. The game of life is all about this. The journey of life continues for one or more lifetimes until there is a complete transformation and ultimately infinite is attained. A life module like this renders life blessed over its own existence. We have all come from one source, the divine, and we carry its essence in our hearts. The journey towards the source of our existence, the divine, is long-awaited transformation our soul has been waiting for many lifetimes. The aphorisms declare that thou art God. Godhood is not something that we lose or we gain. Godhood is our essential being at all times. Before we realize God, we are God. After we realize, we are God. So if that be so, what exactly is the difference between the pre and post realization state? Yes, there is a significant change. Before we realize God, no doubt Godhood is our perennial being, but before we realize God, we are not aware of Godhood. And after we realize God, we are aware of our Godhood. So once the divine within is awakened, all its qualities manifest within us. Eternal peace, joy, and unconditioned love take over our being, removing all ignorance absorbed from worldly surroundings, which has kept us in dark over lifetimes. It is only through divine grace that one can experience transformation within. In order to elevate the mind and transform deep-rooted fears and negative impressions into love, we need to attune and open our entire being to connect to the divine within, thus becoming awakened beings. The moment this connection is made, the mind undergoes spontaneous spiritual change. Our negative impressions in our consciousness are replaced by the seed of divine intelligence, that brings spiritual transformation. The process of transformation occurs beyond the physical body, far beyond the subconscious mind, but it is at the deepest layers of one's core consciousness. This transformation helps us in removing deep-rooted blockages within and sets us at a new trajectory to unite with divine. This is the start of journey to a spiritual growth, self-discovery, transformation, and liberation. As the layers of deep-rooted sanskars and detrimental, unpleasant past impressions are removed, we experience our own true divine essence, leaving us with the experience of love, peace, joy, and internal freedom, even in the most turbulent of times. The seeker now finds things changing as he gets established in the right direction, which will in time fulfill the purpose of his life. Waves upon wave of transformation will be on its way. Each wave of transformation will create an enormous opportunity to connect with the light within, followed by a period of integration as the wave recedes. Then arrives the next wave, higher, bigger, and more powerful than the previous one. Each wave of higher vibration will be bigger than the one before. Its effect will be more dramatic because number of people able to experience their own true nature will increase. Such divine energy transfer enables us to ride this wave of transformation and experience more joy, peace, and love, which is our true nature. As we align with our higher self, we will no longer feel the turbulence as these waves come and will be able to use the wave power to lift ourselves higher and align with the current flow of nature. Our alignment with the wave transformation can assist humanity and planet Earth in making a calm and peaceful transition to a golden age. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Uma, for guiding us through these important stages on the cycles or waves of self-transformation. We will now go into our fourth speaker, who is a member of Reva Lodge in Vadodara, Gujarat. She holds a degree of Bachelor of Science and today serves in the private sector as the manager of Alembic Pharmaceuticals Limited in Vadodara. Brothers and sisters, let us welcome our next presenter, who will speak to us on the need of awareness to relate to the present situation. Let us welcome Sister Chital Patel.
Dear President Tim Boyd of International Section, President Pradeep Gohil of Indian Section, all my seniors, all my brothers and sisters. First, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform on awareness. As I understand, the people listening currently are more senior than me, having rich knowledge and better experience. Please accept my apology if there is any mistake in my speech. Here my subject is need of awareness to relate to the present pandemic situation. According to our great master like Buddha, most of us live our lives like sleepwalkers, with lack of alertness towards our deeds environment, and our motives. We live a mechanically and comatose life. While we are asleep, we simply act our conditioning, habits, and impulses. That's called sleepwalking. Sleepwalking means acting mechanically, habitually, automatically, impulsively, and unconsciously. When we are sleepwalking, we are absent, lost in our thoughts about the future or the past, but not being in present. We are always either worrying about the future or thinking about the past in each moment of our life. It's now high time that we really think for the need to recondition and revive ourselves with living in present for a better tomorrow. There are two categories of self-awareness. One is internal self-awareness and second is external self-awareness. Here, internal self-awareness means knowing your values and strengths and weakness. How we see our own values, passions, aspiration, fit with our environment, reactions. Reactions including thoughts, feeling, behavior, strengths, and weakness, and impact on others. Internal self-awareness is associated with success, interpersonal relationship satisfaction, personal and social control, and happiness. It is negatively related to anxiety, stress, and depression. External self-awareness means understanding how other people view us in terms of the factors mentioned as above in internal self-awareness. Awareness is the key to being self-directed, centered, free in every aspect of our lives, happiness and understanding. Underlying all meditation technique, including martial art and all great athletic performance, is a quality of being awake and present to the moment, a quality called awareness. Once we can identify and understand what this quality of awareness is, we have the key to achieve self-mastery in every area of our lives. Watch every act that you do. Watch every thought that passes in your mind. Watch every desire that takes possession of you. Watch even small gesture like walking, talking, eating, taking a bath. Go on watching everything. Let everything become an opportunity to watch. Don't eat mechanically. Don't just go on stuffing yourself. Be very watchful. Chew well and consciously, and you will be surprised how much you have been missing up to now, because each bite will give you tremendous satisfaction. So says a great master, Osho Rajneesh. Whatsoever you are doing, walking, sitting, eating, or if you are not doing anything, just breathing, resting, relaxing in the grass, never forget that you are a watcher or a drashta. You will forget it again and again. You will get involved in some thought, some feeling, some emotion, some sentiment. Anything will distract you from your passion, position. Remember and run back to your center of watching. Make it an inner process continuously. You will be surprised at how life changes holistically. If you struggle with anxiety, the cure is awareness. Watch your anxiety, be alert when it arises, pay attention to it, be curious, see it for what it is. If you keep watching it long enough, it will eventually drop by self. Likewise, if you struggle with depression, insecurities, anger, addictions, the cure is paying more attention to it. Now, how to increase your self-awareness? Practice mindfulness or meditation. Practice yoga. Go over your thoughts, feeling and behavior to see where you meet your standard, where you failed them, and where you could improve. It helps you discover what you want, what is your value, and what works for you. It can also help you find out what you don't want, what is not important to you, and what doesn't work for you. Now we move to the current pandemic known as COVID-19. It started from December 2019, and in a short span of time it covered almost all over the world, affecting millions of people. Human civilization are facing threat for their survival and livelihood. Majority of nations are not getting substantial relief or a solution to come out from this pandemic. Authorities convince their citizens to take precautions like changing their lifestyle, imposing the lockdown, adopting naturopathy, suggesting a nutritional diet, maintaining social distance, usage of personal protective equipment, maintaining good hygiene, self-quarantine, and so on. Currently, the great news is that the vaccine is ready and it will reach everyone stage-wise very soon. Here I want to take different approach to any disease or illness. Just I am talking about the number. 144 Hz is a number for vibrational level of energy in self-fulfilled humans. It is only logical that this level of vibration will bring oneness among our kind. Like any other virus, COVID-19 has a low vibration rate with a closed electromagnetic circuit structure with a resonance frequency of approximately between 5.5 Hz to 14.5 Hz. In the highest ranges starting with 25.5 Hz and above, the virus become inactive and dies. For a person who lives in high vibes is no longer in a danger because healthy man's body vibrates in the highest range and only occasionally, for various reasons, slips into lower vibration. The reaction for this can be various disorders in the energy balance like fatigue, emotional breakdown, hypothermia, chronic disease, nervous tension, etc. The virus in nature that is outside the body is not resistant. Earth's total average frequency resonance is now 27.4 Hz and therefore it would be destructive to the virus. But there are places where this frequency is lowered, that geopathic areas created naturally or artificially, like hospitals, prisons, power lines, subway, public electric vehicles, malls, offices, pubs, where vibration dropped to level below 20 Hz. For human, at low vibration, this virus is danger. If we have a feeling of pain, fear, irritation, hot temperature, flash of fury, superiority, pride, some type of disorder, the human vibration are in between 0.2 Hz to 3.1 Hz. Within this range, virus can grow and survive. On the other side, if we live with generosity, greeting to other, compassion, pure love with universal brotherhood, unconditional, sacrificial, universal love. Here, just I want to give more important unconditional, sacrificial, universal love. This type of vibration has a 205 Hz. This type of vibration will be in between 45 Hz to 205 Hz. 205 Hz. In this vibration, no virus can survive. You can raise by working on yourself and stimulating conscious behavior. Benefit of self-awareness. When we see ourselves clearly, we are more confident, more creative, more proactive, boost our acceptance. We make strong conclusions, build stronger relationship, and communicate more effectively. We are less likely to lie, cheat, and steal. We can see things from the perspective of others. We are better workers who get more promotions, and we are more effective leaders with more satisfied employees and more profitable companies. Increased self-awareness leads to healthier body, mentally, physically, and spiritually. The link between meditation and self-awareness is clear. Practicing meditation will naturally lead to more to the self-awareness. When we meditate, we are paying attention to the things that can get ignored in our busy day-to-day life, the present moment and our own internal experience. Meditation resulted in a range of improvements, including more positive affect, less stress, greater mindfulness, enhanced resilience, and even greater satisfaction in life. Remember that whenever you realize that you have gone to the past or into the future, don't create a problem out of it. Simply come back into the present. It's okay. Simply bring back your awareness. Now, once again, thank you very much for listening to me. Thanks for giving me opportunity for this. Thank you. Om.
Wow, that was amazing. There are facets of that talk that I've not been aware of, and if true, it's something that we should look into. Thank you very much, Sister Chital. You have brought the theme today to a very practical level in the light of our present circumstances, including that pandemic crisis throughout the world. Now, our speakers for the symposium have touched on 4 facets of awareness as it relates to human life, the theosophical mission, and the present social and health situation in the world today. Lack of awareness makes us imprisoned by our environment and circumstances. They help us realize that awareness is perhaps the most crucial element in human evolution as we awaken from lower levels to higher levels of human consciousness. Sister Priya stressed that awareness has 2 facets. One is individual and the other is social. This has also been mentioned by the other speakers. And in the individual, we must go beyond ordinary thinking because the common mind becomes an obstacle to the true perception of reality. Brother Sanjay calls our attention on the role of awareness in carrying out the mission statement of the Theosophical Society. He stresses the importance of self-preparation and self-transformation, freeing ourselves from a fixed mind. In teaching theosophy, we should emphasize awareness techniques. Sister Uma guided us through the various stages of the life of a seeker in discovering his or her true self, which is the divinity within, the Atman. We are just not aware of our godhood. We need to attune our entire being with the divine. Then, a transformation happens on the deepest levels, and such transformation undergoes successive waves and cycles. And finally, Sister Chital stresses the fact that we are often conditioned by our surroundings, and we are like sleepwalkers, zombies. We need to be aware of ourselves on 2 facets, the internal and social aspects. And awareness is the key to being self-directed. It is also the foundation of all meditation practice. We need to be aware at every moment. This is a cure for anxiety and other psychological maladies. This even affects our susceptibility and immunity to the present virus. We had an interesting session today, and I trust that each one of us have been able to glean deeper insights on how to awaken awareness within us. On behalf of our attendees, let me thank our presenters, Sister Priya Raghavan, Brother Sanjay Potey, Sister Uma Bhattacharyya, and Sister Chital Patel. Good afternoon to all of you, and have happy holidays. Thank you, and good evening to all of you.